All right, let's do this, baby. Let's do this. Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, y'all? Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets. I'm your host, Los Def, and I'm back here with another episode. I think we on episode 144. And if you're new to the channel, man, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment with anything that you got to say. The shorts are doing well. We're growing. We getting closer to 150. I mean, I guess that's the next milestone, so to speak. Last week we celebrated 3 years of the podcast, and you just gotta give ourselves a pat on the back. The channel is continuing to grow. I think we're at past like 1,100 subscribers now on the channel. So again, you gotta celebrate all your victories, small or large. And yeah, man, we rocking. So, man, a lot has happened in the last week, and just recording times have been. I've been kind of biding my time. I've been thinking like, damn, should I? I feel like one of these rappers in the big three, right? Like, or is it the big three anymore? But I've been feeling like, should I drop something? You know what I mean? Or should I wait? You know what I mean? And I'm trying to figure out, if I should wait for certain content to drop. I wanted to kind of record right away, and then certain things develop, and it's just been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride. And obviously, we're gonna talk a little bit about the J.Cole stuff, and it's been stepped on a little bit, and a lot of people have already given their opinions on this thing, but I guess we'll start there. Like, we're just gonna kind of jump right into it. We're gonna start there. So, my bad. Let's take it back to like last Friday, right? So last Friday, Might Delete Later comes out, right? And I knew it was coming out. Well, as a matter of fact, did we know it was coming out? Did we know exactly that? I don't know. If I feel like that was a little bit of a surprise drop. Like, I feel like it was a surprise drop. And people was, I remember Friday morning, people was talking about it. And I seen that they were, and I don't know. See, now I'm forgetting if on Thursday, if we got like some cover art or anything like that. Like, I'm missing that part now. But I just remember I'm seeing people talk about 7-minute drill, and so I'm on my way to work. I'm getting up, and I'm on my way to work. It's like 5:30 in the morning. And I'm like, oh yes, I gotta put this on. And I put on 7-minute drill, and my man Theotis Dakotas, he could vouch for this too. So that was the first, people talking about it. You know what I mean? Obviously that was the talk. And then it was like, how do y'all feel about the diss? And I said at the very beginning. So after I heard the diss, I was like, I ain't gonna hold you. It was kind of light. Like, the diss was kind of light. It was kind of friendly, but okay, like, it's just a warning shot, right? Now, the diss itself probably got a lot of criticism from just general fans, because they felt like, and the thing is, he's using lines in it, like he's saying, like, basically, like, he's like Nino in New Jack, where he had to shoot down G Money. And he used that line, and people are using that meme, and like, people are just saying, the initial reaction was like, yeah, I don't even think that Cole really wanted to shoot at Kendrick. But like, I was excited. I was like, nah, this is what's up. Like, this, you know what I mean? Even if it's a warning shot, like, now we got a beef. Now Kendrick is gonna respond to J. Cole. So I was excited. And then, you know what I mean? Just a bonus. Like, we get a J. Cole project out of nowhere. Like, and that's why I feel like, I don't know if we got too much notice about this project at all. I feel like it was a surprise. I don't know. But anyway, so we're all excited, and we get a J. Cole project, and J. Cole is on there spitting. Like, I was so excited. And I was texting friends. I was like, yo, we I mean, you got to hear this. You got, you got to hear this. Did you hear this? Did you hear the J. Cole? I'm going to work. I'm telling people, like, yo, did you hear the new J. Cole? So like, and where I was at, people was just like, no, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you. What? He dropped something? Oh, he dropped a diss against Kendrick. I'm like, yeah, he dropped the Kendrick diss. Like, oh, yo, he dropped the album too. And so, I could tell like it was a surprise. Like it wasn't something that everybody really knew about ahead of time. And J. Cole, I have to say, like this was the kind of J. Cole I liked in terms of like the project that he put out. He wasn't. He had some features on there, but he wasn't experimenting like so. Like albums like KOD, um, he was kind of experimenting with sounds and stuff like that, or when he did the off season, right? He was experimenting with features and different artists, like younger artists and things like that. Even a lot of features that he been jumping on, he been kind of hopping on artists who you wouldn't normally you wouldn't normally look at J. Cole and say, oh, that's a good collab, like him and Young Thug, him and Lil Durk, him and Lil Baby, like like he's collaborating with all these different people, 21 Savage even, like, and like certain things don't necessarily feel congruent because we look at him as this like lyricist, and he, for the last couple of years he has been like snapping on records, you know what I mean, and just really rapping. And I think people wanted that a little bit from him. You know what I mean? We've been wanting to hear that. So like this was like this kind of rapping that he was on. This felt like Forest Hills Drive. Like it felt like like J. Cole is not giving us like something like super introspective. Like he's just spitting. And to be honest, like the Might Delete Later, like a lot of the songs on there, like it feels like he's even that. So I started with 7 Minute Drill and then I went back, right? And I'm listening to it, and like just a lot of the braggadocious lines, like it feels like it's little shots at Kendrick. He's just like, taking aim, like warning shot. Like it feels like it's a lot of like warning shots. It's a lot of him talking shit, talking like he's the best and things like that. So it feels good. Like this feels good. And I'm like, man, I have not heard Cole spit like this in a while. I'm texting a friend, I'm texting my people. They like, yo, the amount of like screwed up faces I've been making as I'm listening to this, and the thing is, it's like it's getting everybody excited. It's not even just getting like the bruhs excited. It's getting women excited, like women that listen to rap that like J. Cole, like they're excited about it too. So it felt good. It felt good. So I'm just like, yeah, like I don't, like I'm thinking it's gonna take a week, man. It's gonna take a week for somebody to come back out with something. Somebody could step on his release and like try to like put something out on a Saturday, like the diss him, but like I'm like, everybody's riding high, like it feels good. It feels good. So then Sunday night, I get a text from Levi. I get a text from Levi, you know what I mean? Sparks, you know what I'm saying? Sparks hit me up. He was like, yo, and he said, yo, J. Cole gives a speech and he says that he's gonna take the 7 Minute Drill disc off of streaming services, whatever. And then it was like, and I think the headline was like something about him apologizing, whatever. So like I don't even know if I looked at it right away. Like I don't know if I did, or I might have, but I just know the next morning, Monday morning, when I tapped into it and I hear J. Cole. So what he does, right? And y'all know by now, but like for the people that don't know, he goes on to Dreamville Fest, right? That's his concert. That's his label, Dreamville, as a festival, big concert, all these different acts, multiple days, right? So one of the days, I don't know if it exactly was Sunday or if it was Saturday, but he gets on the stage and like quote unquote apologizes. Now, I just talked to somebody and they was like, yo, well, you know what I mean? You notice that he didn't actually say sorry or he didn't say the word apologize in there, whatever. But like I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Like my perception of it, like he was sucking Kendrick off, real. Like he was glazing. Like that's what people would say, right? He was glazing Kendrick Lamar. He was dick riding. He was dicky. You know what I mean? So it didn't feel good, right? Because all right, if I go and I'm a concert goer, like I go to concerts. J. Cole is somebody that I still have not seen in a concert. Now you're going there for that artist, like you're going there because you're part of their fan base and you love them and this and that and the third, right? So like you feel good about being there. You feel great about being there. Now, when your artists, and yeah, I don't mind the artist stopping the show to want to give us a little speech if that feels good. That's what's up. But when an artist that you love and you went to go see and you paid your hard-earned money for, and you've been waiting, and you bought it, maybe you bought an outfit, maybe you had to, you know what I mean? Like we, we're getting, I'm, getting a little bit older. Last year I told you I celebrate my 36, right? So like, you know, I might have had to make arrangements. I might have had to call off work the next day. I might have had to get somebody to watch my son. Just the travel plan. Like you doing a lot to go to a concert. So like if I go to a J. Cole concert and he stops the show to big up Kendrick Lamar, I'm already feeling some type of way. If I'm at that concert, I'm already feeling some type of way because he was like, "How many of y'all like Kendrick Lamar?" And like some people was like, "Oh, woo," but I would have been like, "Man, fuck that." I would have been like, "Fuck that nigga," like whatever. You know what I mean? Well, fuck that shit, whatever. I would have been that. I would have been on that type of time. So not only does he do that, so then he big ups the diss. He talks about like that. He calls it a bazooka. He's like, oh, he dropped that bazooka on the game. So like all right, time out. Like that is hard. Like that is a good song. It's hard. It is a, you know what I mean, but like you just made it harder. Like you made it, you called it a bazooka. Like you made that harder than what it probably really was. You know what I'm saying? And then he was like, yeah, and then about this little song I dropped, and then basically he talks about like how dropping 6, 7 minute drill is the corniest, lamest thing that he's ever done, whatever. So like it's like, wait up, time out, time out, time out, time out. This is not, so this is where, and we can get into the reaction of this, whatever. So but like when we talking about a record that you put out, a diss track, right? This is not a random tweet. This ain't Twitter fingers, you know what I mean, instead of trigger fingers, right? Like this ain't that, right? You published a project, you published a song. Like you had to write the song, you had to rap the song. You know what I mean? You put ad libs, right? The song was edited, it was mixed, you had to publish it, and then it got distributed, right? So there's a lot of steps to this, whatever, right? You know what I mean? And so you're saying that like you think that was the corniest, lamest thing you could have done, and then he starts, he's bigging up Kendrick Lamar and like how it's his homie and this and that, and like how he didn't want to, he felt like he felt under pressure. He felt under pressure, I think, where he was like, "Oh, I've been trying to change my life." He's talking about this spirituality stuff, and talking about how he changing his life and how he feels about it. And for me, I'm just like internalizing this, and I'm just like, and again, it don't got nothing to do with me, but like as a fan, I'm like, what? Like, where you going with this, bro? Like, because we respect that, and you think that's corny, right? You think that's corny. So he did that, and he talks about how basically Kendrick is his man. He didn't really want to do that, and um he basically alludes to the fact that he's gonna be like taking it off of streaming services, right? And he basically he forfeits, and he's basically saying like he lost sleep over it. And I'm just thinking like, bro, like this ain't even been out a week. This ain't even been out 2, 3 days yet. Like it ain't even been out a whole weekend yet. And you talking about you lost sleep? Like when did you lose sleep? Like the 2 nights? You lost sleep for 2 nights? Like he talking about he lost sleep. It's not good for his spirit, which he's using some keywords there. Like these are words that evoke sympathy, right? If you start talking about your spirit, everybody, like, because we in this mental health bubble right now, everybody gonna go, side with you, and have your back and be like, yeah, yeah, what I mean, y'all don't know about that spirituality, when it's something affect your spirit, you gotta listen, right? Like, so he's talking like that, so he's using key words, right, to get sympathy. Even like the way he is like bigging up Kendrick, like he's almost trying to get sympathy from the Kendrick fans and things like that, right? And he basically forfeits, and he's saying like, he don't want to beef. And he basically said, yo, I'm gonna stick my chin out. He's like, I hope you don't feel no type of way, my nigga. He said, I'm gonna stick my chin out and I'm gonna let you take your best shot, but it's over. And I'm thinking like, time out. No, man, you don't it's one thing. So even with this apology, right? Or the so-called apology, That's something that he should have did behind closed doors. That's something that he should have like let the dust settle, man. Like, all right, or he could have did this. He could have said, "Yo, I mean, I fired at my, I mean, that's my homie. I ain't want to do that." All right. He's like, but just know, like this, that's the last verse you're gonna hear from me. Like that's all he had to say. That's all he had to say. Like he would have just been like, you know what I mean? Like I ain't even really want to beef, but like no matter what happens, yeah, I mean, no matter whatever, like, yeah, I mean, that's the last. And maybe we would have still felt some type of way, but like you denounced your own song, you called your own song lame, a song that people are, kind of liking and feeling, and the project people are liking and feeling, and you downplayed everything that you did. And then you invite this man to basically pummel you. Like you invite somebody to pummel you. Like here's the thing: it's one thing to wave the white flag, but you don't stick your neck out so somebody can just take your head off. Like you don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we are. So then let's talk about the fan reaction. Let's talk about the fan reaction. All right. Because after that, it was just like it was crazy. What I saw in these comment sections to me was crazy. So to me, the fan reaction was like one of the weirdest parts of this whole thing, right? Because of course, we got the reactions from people, and again, you don't gotta agree with me. You know what I'm saying? But I thought that more people would feel the way that I felt, right? But again, initially you getting that like, oh, like he done fucked up. Or what I mean, like just in general, the sentiment is that like, yo, like we don't do this in hip hop. Like this is not hip hop. This is not what we do. I mean, we don't apologize. We don't take stuff back. We don't do that. Like that's the you know what I mean? Calling J. Cole soft. Like people calling J. Cole soft, people calling him, all type of names, right? I called him soft. I said it was pussy, man. I thought it was soft. I thought it was corny. I thought it was a disgrace, right? Like I'm feeling that way. And it felt good to me that like a lot of like-minded people, like, you know what I mean? Like people that I trust, people opinions I can rock with, they felt the same way. Like they felt like, dang, like this is not good. Like this is not, no matter how you slice it, it's not good. Like he shouldn't have done that. He should not have done that. Because here's the thing, if you want to piece it up, right? And I kept saying this. I said, yo, you saved that apology and explanation for 5 to 10 years down the road when y'all do a documentary about this whole ordeal, right? Because nobody thought these guys was gonna like turn it into something crazy. Like we really just wanted, we didn't want blood. Like people, and that's what J. Cole kept saying. He's like, yeah, because the fans want blood. It's like, no, we don't want blood. We just, I mean, we want some bars, right? We want some bars. So that get that was the initial reaction. But then when I was going in the comment section, like because then this hits Baller Alert, this hits World Star, this hits Shade Room, this hits all these different big entities, and oh my god, I was appalled. Like the sentiment was, as he should, or good for him, like that's right, you know what I mean? And it was a lot of people like basically kind of co-signing what he was saying, and I was just confused. I was like, what? And a lot of people were like, they're basically, they making it into like a black thing, right? Where it's like, yo, y'all don't want, black unity type thing. And it's like, this is not what, we don't want people dying over rap, and all y'all do is pump negativity and things like that was the sentiment. Like it was almost like the fans, or just in general, the general public was shaming people for wanting them to have a rap beef, even though both of these men have engaged in talking about each other. And J. Cole has been talking his shit for the last couple years. Although that's happened, they trying to battle shame. They trying to battle shame, this shame the fans, right? And I'm just like, nah, we're not going out like that. Like that's crazy. Like that's crazy to say that, because again, this is when we talk about legacy, when we talk about the greats, right? All the greatest rappers, all of them had to go through the fire, right? Every single one, any person that you look at as like one of the greats, Somebody was standing in their way, whether you thought the opponent was like worthy or not, or whether somebody stood in their way, and they had to overcome. They had to prevail, or they lost, and they had to take their L on the chin. But you ain't never heard nobody threw the white flag in the middle of it. Right? You can cease fire after shit is going back and forth after the fact, but like you don't throw the white flag before this man even gets to respond to you. You wave the white flag. That's pussy right there. I mean, like that's like sucker punching a dude. So that's what I'm saying. Let's look at it like this. So because Kendrick did not really say much about him on like that, right? So, but that's like sucker punching a dude and saying, "Yo, my bad. I ain't mean to sucker punch you," and then walking away and thinking that nothing should happen to you. No, 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 no. You don't get to do that. You don't get to quit after you hit somebody first. You know what I'm saying? Or after you really make the first strike, because that's the first strike. The other thing was kind of like, Kendrick might be posturing and pose like, all right, yeah, I'm setting the tone. He punched back. He punched him in his lip, right? And said like, no, my bad. I'm sorry, Kendrick. My bad, man. Like, and wants to back away. And there was a lot of people that was co-signing it, and I just thought that was hypocritical as fuck, because the reason why I was hypocritical is because on Friday, all the Cole fans, there was not one. I did not see not one Cole fan say, "Oh man, he should go apologize to Kendrick Lamar for that, man." Like, ooh, that's gonna be bad news for J. Cole. Like, that's gonna be bad news for J. Cole. He better apologize. Like, if he knows what's best for him, he better take it back. He better no. Every Cole fan, every single Cole fan was on go mode, just like I was. You know what I'm saying? And I like J. Cole, I like Drake. And I respect Kendrick Lamar. I can't say I really like Kendrick Lamar, but I respect Kendrick Lamar. His success and things like that. So I'm just thinking like, okay, like that's what it is. You know what I mean? So all the Cole fans would that, they were gung ho about it. Like so many of them were like, well, that's not even J. Cole's personality. Like he said he didn't want to do it. So like how can you fault a man for wanting to back away? Like how can you do that? And it's like, well, I can do that. We can do that because as fans, like we're the ones who. Here's the thing. This is where people get it fucked up too. Like when people ask, like, what right do the fans have? The fans make these rappers who they are. Yes, they have this ability, but there's a ton of people that have ability. Yeah, I mean, it's the fans and it's obviously the executives. Yeah, I mean, it's a three-headed monster. You gotta have talent. You gotta have drive. You gotta have, the artist has to do their part, right? They gotta create the art, right? The business side of it, the labels, right? They market it to us. I mean, they get us to want to listen and consume and want to be these rappers. And then us, like we eat it, right? We consume it, right? And if we don't consume it, they ain't who they are. So if you're gonna say to me as a fan, well, how you gonna say this, whatever, because we've helped to create make J. Cole who he is. Like we are a big contributing factor in that. You know what I'm saying? He's a big contributor. He's a third. Like we could break it down into a pie. Like it's a third. Like we get a big port. We get a substantial portion of that because without fans, you ain't nobody. And J. Cole is one of the biggest in the game, and he chalked it up. So yeah, man. It definitely. I think his career is fine. Like he's not. I mean, you can't take back what he's already done. I think he's still in the works, and I think people are still going to want to hear from him and things like that. People are going, but his legacy is tarnished forever, right? It's always going to be an asterisk on his name. It's always going to be people bringing it up, like, oh, well, remember the time that he apologized to Kendrick Lamar? Like, fuck your apologize. Pop should apologize. Nigga just ask Kiss. Like that's a bar. Like that's a Nas bar, you know what I'm saying? And then all the memes and stuff like that was rolling out. They and all the messages, they like, yo, uh, you know, J. Cole let Nas down again, right? Like, cause not Nas was not on that type of time, right? And people were comparing like Jay-Z apologizing to Nas. Jay-Z didn't really apologize to Nas. Jay-Z apologized um because his mother heard the song, like the song Super Ugly, which was like that. Remember, people don't realize like it was bigger than just Takeover Ether. Takeover and Ether is where we draw the line. Like that's where we kind of set the tone. But it was Super Ugly. It was H to the is like it was not H to the Izzo. Um it was Blueprint 2, the song Blueprint 2. Like it was that song. Nas had some other shit like Got Yourself a Gun. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was they was going back and forth at each other. And so he let Nas down again, and it's just a lot of people, there's some MCs that kind of chimed in. Some people, yeah, you could see the maturity in it. Like I'm not saying it's sure it's mature, but like ain't no place for like when we in the heat of battle, ain't no place for maturity. You know what I mean? Like if something is, and whether it's a proverbial war, you know what I mean, like figurative war, there ain't no time and place to be mature and a grown person. Like, no, you gotta get through the competition first. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? And anything is like rap is competitive, sports are competitive. Like it's just always been that way. And even and that's hearing Joe Budden podcast, and they were saying like, yo, anything that we do is competitive. Like even, yeah, art forms, like you do want to be the best amongst your contemporaries and peers. And yeah, J. Cole really said, like, no, I'm not really into that. And it just made me think, like, yo, J. Cole definitely used to get his lunch money taken when he was a young boy. Like either that or J. Cole used to get bullied, right? And he would convince others that the bullies were his friends. Like that's what he would do. Like where you ever see that where you have somebody that's like not getting treated the best by somebody, or somebody that's kind of low key getting bullied, or maybe it's high key getting bullied, right? And you tell the person like, yo, man, they don't really respect you, man. Like they you why do you hang out with that guy? Why do you give this person, why are you nice to this person? Why do you give them your snack at lunch? And then the person is like, no, no, they don't, man. They make fun of me, but they're just playing, man. That's just the guys. Like they don't mean it like that. That's J. Cole. Like that's J. Cole. J. Cole is the victim in denial. You know what I'm saying? The bully's bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how else to say it. And it's a letdown. Another point, and my man Tone, Kalir Music, man. He was talking on Facebook, and I agree with this too. Just in the sense that like he was like, yo, the best, like in the Northeast, right? Like when we talk about East Coast, we really talk about Northeast, right? Because technically J. Cole is East Coast, North Carolina, right? Coast, right? But when we really talk about rap and things like that, we talking about Philly, we talking about New York, right? Like those places are the most battle tested. And he was just saying like, yo, like this new generation is crazy. You know what I mean? It's soft, and you know what I mean? Even with Drake, Drake didn't really come out with bars yet. Like Drake is still kind of like in the works, and he putting out captions and things like that. But he's like, yo, the realest rappers come from the Northeast. And then when you think about, now, granted, there's some probably prominent people on the West Coast, but even like if we talk about Tupac is not from the West Coast. Tupac is from New York. You know what I mean? Tupac is from New York, then lived in Baltimore for a long time. So like Tupac is an East Coast nigga. Like, so, you know what I mean? So like I think there's validity to that. Like again, there are some, on the West Coast, we talking about Ice Cube, we talking about people that been into some beefs, Kendrick Lamar now, you know what I'm saying? Um, those are, these are prominent names, but like the Northeast, that's the breeding ground. You know what I mean? We come from that. And that's why I think fans from the Northeast are probably some of the most passionate people about what just happened, because it's like, yo, this do not match nothing. You know what I mean? People people battle rap, you know what I mean, all the time, and they got the worst things to say. Like a battle of actually, because I watch battle rap, obviously, and I've talked about it quite a bit on the show. Those guys, like there ain't been I ain't never heard a battle on wax, like on a track that is actually harder than the stuff that these battle rappers say to each other. on a daily basis, on a random Monday, you know what I mean, on a random Tuesday, like the stuff that these guys, but then they're able to look at it as competition only, and then go their separate ways, and then it is what it is. So yeah, man. J. Cole's legacy is tarnished a little bit, and we're gonna see, man, what comes. I heard somebody say that like they think that he's just kind of playing coy, and like he's like it's a pump fake, and like he's not really apologizing, knowing that Kendrick is gonna. And that's the thing. I ain't gonna lie, and this is crazy. I want Kendrick Lamar to annihilate this dude. Like I want Kendrick Lamar because Kendrick Lamar is. I think he's petty. I think he got that pettiness in him, and I don't think he's gonna just let it. He's not gonna just let it go just because he forfeited. So then it makes you think like, what did Kendrick Lamar, what did TDE, Punch and Top Dog, what did they say? Did somebody get to J. Cole before he or after he dropped that album and that song? Because what would make him backtrack so fast? I don't know. I don't know. So we got to move on, man. We got to move on. But it's tough. So we're in a really awkward position because when this comes out, Drake might have dropped his diss, and just word on the street is that it's gonna be crazy. Like word on the street is that Drake's diss to Kendrick is crazy, and then that Kendrick's diss back to Drake is gonna be crazy. Like people in the industry already kind of have are privy to it. We don't know when it's coming out. It possibly so Future and Metro Boomins, they're I don't know if this is I think it's just a deluxe. Like in my head, I'm thinking it's a deluxe album, but they're saying it's another album. We still don't trust you. Instead of we don't trust you, we still don't trust you, right? Um, that's supposed to drop on Friday. So you know what I mean? And when this comes out, like it might be already out, right? So that's supposed to come out Friday. And some people are speculating that like, maybe Drake should step on the release, right? And drop it like the day before, or step on the release and drop it like on the Saturday or something like that. But like he might drop it at the same time. And it has to be fire though. Like it has to be a way that's like really fire for if you're gonna step on Future's release, it gotta be one of them ones. It gotta be one of them ones. And we're just waiting to see. But like that's what I'm saying. Like when it comes to recording, I feel like, just in a weird position because like some stuff could obviously come out and really change the game. And we might actually miss some of it. You know what I mean? And it's all good, but it's still good. The discourse is good. I do want to get some guys on here, some rappers on here that I know. And we've been really waiting for Drake. We've been waiting for Drake to drop because Drake is in a great position right now. So great, the fact that J. Cole has dropped out of the race, you know what I mean, and like he don't want to be in it no more. Drake is actually he's in a win-win position because he like no matter what he puts out, right, as a diss track, it's already he elevates himself above J. Cole, right? Because it's like, yo, Drake had the heart to want to go against Kendrick Lamar, right? Like Drake jumped out there and responded. Even though it took us a couple weeks now, people are gonna, give Drake a pat on the back, like, oh no, you jumped in the fire though, fam. Like respect to you, right? Like so people feeling good about that. And then it's a win because even if he loses, even if well, it's a win because he jumped out there first, and it's also a win because whatever he does, it's gonna blow up like wildfire. Like whatever he puts out, it's gonna be the biggest thing in rap at that given time, right? And then it's crazy because like even if Kendrick responds and kills Drake, it's not the worst thing. Like he didn't go out. He died. He went out on his sword, like people say. I mean, he didn't go out like a punk. Like he went out there swinging, and his people are gonna respect Drake. So respect Drake does not. If Drake drops, Drake elevates himself over J. Cole, but then he does not. He gains respect. That's all. He has everything to gain in this. Kendrick Lamar, I think, actually has the most pressure on him. Like, I mean, because you got all this, vitriol, and you got all this, people calling you the boogeyman, and so you gotta be that, right? You have to take these guys out for it to be definitive. Like you got to take Drake out before for it to be definitive. Because and I thing is, I don't know if Drake will keep going back and forth. I think depending on how big of a punch Kendrick Lamar responds with is going to determine um, whether or not Drake can withstand. But I don't have any clue on what these two men could say about each other. Like I really don't know what you can say about Kendrick Lamar. Like I ain't gonna lie. Like people are saying that about Drake because like there's a lot of stuff that we already know about Drake. So it's like, what can you say about Drake? Well, what can you really say about Kendrick Lamar? Like I don't know, like, cause he has this success, like he has a lot of success. So real quick, I wanted to kind of go over some stats with y'all. And this is something that I saw and I was like, wow, like this is and it's basically big three stats. It's big three stats. It's about these our guys here and kind of where they stand with the big three. So if we look at some of these stats here that I got on deck. Let me see. So total streams, Spotify, and you're going by Spotify, so it could be different. Drake. So and I'm gonna just say like who's first, second, last, like in the order. So Drake, so total streams, it goes Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, 97 billion, 35 billion, 25 billion. So Drake is the most heard artist of those three. Grammy nominations, nominations, and then in parentheses wins. So it goes Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole. Kendrick has 50 nominations, 17 wins. Drake has 55 nominations, so more nominations, but only 5 wins. J. Cole has only 17 nominations and only 2 wins. Um, certified units sold all time, right? RIA certified units sold. Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick, right? So Drake is 294 million units sold. J. Cole is 95 million units sold. Kendrick Lamar is 57 million units sold. Average streams, Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, 5 billion, 3.8 billion, 2.6 billion. All right. Let's see. And this is average streams, and that's for albums. For songs, Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, 230 million, 204 million, 156 million. So J. Cole's not that far off. J. Cole is second and so far only in the units sold category. Certified platinum songs. All right, this is where J. Cole starts cooking too. So it goes platinum certified songs. You got, and so this is like singles pretty much, or album cuts that have like what I mean gone the distance, right? So you got Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake 80, J. Cole 33, Kendrick 13. Um, Average first week sales. All right, so this is again Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick, 245,000 or 245K, 342K, 294K. So this is average on average. So like when Drake drops an album, on average, it blows up bigger than both of these. Like it almost doubles. It almost doubles J. Cole. Um, and but J. Cole is still above Kendrick there. Biggest first week sales though. So like this is like their peak, like the biggest first week sales. Drake one, it goes Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, 1.04 million, 603K, 492K for J. Cole. And then longest charting album, Kendrick Lamar. So this is where Kendrick Lamar wins. um, Kendrick really doesn't beat him in really any category except for Grammy wins and now longest charting album. It is Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, 596 weeks, longest charting album, 578 weeks, longest charting album. That's pretty long. And then 486 weeks for J. Cole. Now, all those numbers are freaking prolific. Like all those numbers are crazy. And total number one songs, Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole. Kendrick and J. Cole are tied for 7, but Drake has 27, And then current monthly listeners on Spotify, current monthly listeners, Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole. Drake is 82.7 million monthly listeners. That's crazy. 58.3 million. That's crazy for Kendrick Lamar. And then J. Cole is a 41.8 million. Again, crazy numbers. But like who's the best? I mean, if you go by numbers, it is Drake. Drake doesn't have the favor of the Academy, and he's not winning those awards. But like in terms of the fans, and people try to diminish that. People try to be like, oh, well, people streaming farms and stuff like that. This ain't. These are the biggest artists in the game, man. This is not no streaming farms, man. People love Drake, and that's what they're doing. They're supporting them and they're listening to him. So we'll see where this all goes, where this beef takes us. And again, we're waiting, but they saying, according to Joe Budden, it can go nuclear. Everything can go nuclear, which is wild. All right, guys, and then moving on, and then we're gonna give a big shout out. Our next topic, and we just gonna this is probably where we're gonna stop it here. But maybe add a couple little things here. But shout out to we want a big shout out, man. So last week we talked about a lot about women's basketball and the recognition and the growth of it and like just the popularity of it. Now and we gotta first start off with the winners though. Yeah, I mean we gotta start off where these women won. And it is shout out to Dawn Staley, man. Shout out to Dawn Staley and the South Carolina Gamecocks for winning the national championship, and they were able to take out the Iowa Hawkeyes, who features Caitlin Clark, right? So the best player in college basketball went against the best team in college basketball, and this was a rematch from last year's Final Four where Caitlin Clark got the best of them and beat them in the Final Four to get to the national championship, and they were able to kind of just bring it back and win it all. And not only did the Gamecocks win it all, it was an undefeated season, something that is not done every year, something that's not done all the time. And so they were able to finish their season 38-0, and handed Iowa only their fifth loss of the season. Both were number one seeds, so both teams deserve to be there. We didn't really have an underdog, but I would say that the Iowa was the underdog in this. Caitlin Clark was kind of volume shooting out there. You know what I mean? She did have 30. She did have 30 points, but she went 10 for 28. So she was jacking up a little bit. 5 for 13 from three. That's not horrible, but that's not where she probably wants to be in terms of her percentage. So yeah, man, shout out to Dawn Staley, man. Dawn Staley is one, like she's the GOAT. Like what I mean? Like she's in that GOAT conversation. Now she has three national titles, has won three titles in the last 7 years, right? Three titles in the last 7 years. Um, Only I think in those 7 years, I think it's only a handful. It's not that many losses. It's not that many losses. Has just perennial Final Four appearances and things like that, like a perennial force out there. Dawn Staley, this is her third title now. And she made it to three Final Fours. So we just take it back to Dawn Staley. Dawn Staley has always been a great, you know what I mean? And we love her here in PA because she is from Philly, you know what I mean, North Philly to be exact. She's born May the 4th, right? So May the 4th be with her. And what this year I think she turns 54. Yeah, she turns 54 this year. Um, Old enough to be my mama, you know what I'm saying? Old enough to be my mom, like a young. Well, she'll be a young. No, 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 no. She'll be a young. She'll be like a teen mom if she was my mom. So no, but like shout out to Dawn Staley. Um, her, she was a beast in college, right? Two-time national player of the year in college, right? And she went to three Final Fours when she was a player. She went to three Final Fours as a player. Her pro career actually predates the WNBA. So prior to the WNBA, they had a league called the ABL, and she was a two-time All-Star in the ABL. And then she goes to the WNBA, and she gets six All-Star appearances in the WNBA. She is the all-time steals leader in college basketball and women's college basketball to date. It's still today. She has the all-time record for steals. So she was just a beast of a point guard, spark plug type of player, scrappy, good D, really fast, good facilitator, and like, sometimes when you're as great as you are, like when you're great like that, sometimes it doesn't always translate to um good coaching. It doesn't always translate to good coaching, and she kind of has broken the mold of that. You know what I mean? And and there's other coaches that are like pretty prolific as well, like Kim Mulkey. And just I don't want to bring up somebody else, but Kim Mulkey is a two-time national champion when she was a player. But anyway, man, Dawn Staley, man, and the girls they deserve, and they're getting all the recognition. I think if we had to say though, because the debate was before it was like, well, why is Caitlin Clark getting all this recognition? It should be more on the Gamecocks. Well, I think it's because the Gamecock, like the South Carolina, they just had a collective. They just had a really really good team. Now they do have Camila Cardoso, who I mean, that's one of their star players. They lost like a big time star player, Aaliyah Boston, and then they had Asia Wilson a couple years prior to that when they won before. But Aaliyah Boston was a player of the year. Was a player of the year. So they have had like bigger names on their team, and they lost some key components, and the fact that they was able to run it back. The reason why I think, again, I talked about NCAA is very player driven first. I think it is player driven first, but then the teams also get a lot of recognition. So like I thought South Carolina was a lot of people looked at them and knew that they were a force to be reckoned with. Like I knew people knew that. People knew that they were, but then when you got the best player, on in women's college basketball, the leading scorer, yeah, it's gonna be and she's carrying her team. It wasn't like Caitlin Clark and Iowa. It wasn't like they was a middle road team. They wasn't like a 4 seed or 5 seed in the tournament. They were a number 1 seed. They were in the top five all year round. So it wasn't like they did not deserve to be talked about. Um, or even at times not talked about over South Carolina. But again, the league is first player driven, and then it's gonna give recognition to the coaches. But like Dawn is getting all her flowers, man, and I love to see it. Seeing her on the sidelines, one, she's fresh. She's the flyest. Like a lot of these women coaches are dressing really nice on the game, and I like the pantsuit look. You know what I mean, for some of these women, but like Dawn, man, she be throwing that shit on, man. She be having Gucci and Louis shoes, like crazy, crazy, like high designer jackets. She be wearing throwback jerseys and stuff like that. She be wearing a lot of Philly jerseys. She wore like a Cheney University. Like she is just so tapped in. She's so real. She's so thorough. And it's good to see, man. It's good to see. And she got some players returning next year. And she's one of the highest paid coaches in women's college basketball. So yeah, she's definitely the flowers. She's getting her flowers. And again, this is probably her best bet, right? It's probably her best bet to stay where she's at, as opposed to like jumping to the WNBA. I don't think coaches in the WNBA make as much as the coaches in women's college basketball. So yeah, man, it's good to see that, and it was fun to watch. And yeah, man, they got Caitlin Clark out of here. And what can you say? What can you say? And they could easily probably get back, or get almost just as far next year. So shout out to South Carolina, man. Shout out to Dawn, man. One thing this was a misconception. I always was under the belief that her and Deuce Staley were related. I thought they were brother and sister. They're not. I found out that it was a myth. Like, and I think it's because Deuce Staley played for Philly, the Philadelphia Eagles, and then Staley, we don't know too many people named Staley, and then both of their names started with the D. So I think it was like a natural misconception, and I think I was told that too, like, oh, they were brother and sister, but they're not even. Like, I found out like that's a myth, like they're not related. So that was just a little fact that I thought was kind of cool. Um, and then I guess talking about the men's game, I did watch the second half of national championship game. And here's the thing too. Shout out to the women for putting up crazy numbers. Like they were putting up record-setting numbers and things like that. And like some of their games were like the most watched games. And all those stats are great, right? All those stats are amazing. However, there's some factors into this. Like so even so the national I think the national championship women's, I think it got like 18 point something million, so almost 19 million viewers, right? And then I think the men's game only got like 13 million. However, the difference is one was on CBS, which is a free channel for everybody. If you got a, you got an antenna, you can turn your TV on, whatever. You know what I mean? It's a free channel, broadcast network, right? On a Sunday versus being on TBS. Like, and this is that baffled me, right? So you got the college, you got the men's college basketball national championship on TBS on a Monday night. So all right, that's cool. Monday night, we let's do it on Monday night, fine. But like for it to be on TBS, TBS is like a cable network, right? So the ratings are already going to be lower because there's less access to the game. I missed the women's game because I thought it was gonna start prime time and it started at 3 o'clock. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I need a prime time game, but like, no. I mean, still got good viewership. People did like that it was at 3 o'clock, but I'm like, that's not putting it at the forefront. They weren't competing against anybody. And even if they were putting it at 3 o'clock, like put it at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you're not competing with anybody. Um, and I wouldn't have been taking a nap, so I could have watched it. But no, that's besides the point. But like when you put the men's game on late on a Monday night, and then you put it on a network that everybody doesn't have, I had to like finagle. I had to go through HBO Max, and then luckily it had an add-on that I could watch TBS. But like that's not a channel that I have, because I cut the cord a long time ago. So it was cool. I man, real like yo, it's crazy because UConn has been the most dominant team in the last 2 years, and they are not talked about a lot. And again, that is just when we talk about college basketball, how the men's game is not as like it's not as talked about, and it's because like they just you got some good players out there and stuff like that, but it's not they just don't have the star power. Or the stars play on these other teams, and they're not necessarily it's not translating to like um, you know, success, you know what I mean, or college level success is translating to, NBA prospecthood. And yeah, man, UConn has won two back to back, 2 years in a row. And they had the biggest margin of victory throughout the tournament. So like I think throughout the season. So I think they just really smoked teams all season. And some people are saying like probably even more dominant run than the Florida Gators when they went back to back. So we'll see, man. And they got a good coach, man, Dan Hurley, brother of Bobby Hurley. And they got that pedigree, man. They got that coaching pedigree. And so we'll see, man. We'll see. Probably in the coming months, we'll see who are the top prospects, and we'll, hopefully on 280 plus, we'll keep you updated with some of that. You might see me collaborate with my man Jabbar Harris, do something on Fresh Bar to talk about that type of stuff. Other than that, man, what else is there? What else is there? There are some new shows that I want to check out. One show I did start to check out. So there's a new documentary like experiment show on Netflix called Unlocked, right? So basically it's about it takes place in a prison in Little Rock, Arkansas, and what the sheriff wants to do is for a 6 week time period, he wants to take like open the doors. This is a so the facility that this is Pulaski County. I mean, I don't want to butcher it, but I know it's Pulaski County Prison, right? Or jail, county jail. And that it's a 23-in-1 facility. So 23-in-1 means the prisoners are in their cell for 23 hours and then they're only out of their cell for 1 hour. And they just talked about how like these guys they just kind of rage up and they get mad and like it's amazing to me. Like obviously I never been to jail. Um, but it's always amazing to me how like, you know, you get that free time and like how people would like might want to fuck it up, you know what I mean, and ruin it and get people put on lockdown. Like so some there's probably days where guys they don't even get that full hour because some an incident happens. But I think though if you are harboring something from the day before, if you've been pent up for 23 hours, yeah, like there's no anything goes. So his idea though is he wants to unlock these doors and take the guards out of the pod, so to speak. Take them right out of the pod, so like they're not in danger. Because like if the guys are just out all day, right, it might be dangerous for them. One of these reasons is that so then they want to do that, and then they want to see it's an experiment to see if like these prisoners can almost like regulate themselves, govern themselves, police themselves, in this in with given some freedom. And what was interesting was that so they had this one guy on there. Damn, what was his? Oh, he go by the name True Story, right? So they had this guy on this documentary named True Story, and he seemed like a good guy. Like it seemed like he's an older man that's been in prison probably a little bit here and there. He realized he made some bad decisions, and he had this idea of like, all right, he's gonna get like the elder prisoners of this facility and like kind of create a power team or just kind of like a board, like not a board of trustees, but like yeah, make these guys trustees to where like when there's conflict and things like that, we go through this guy or this group of men. And so as he's going to people approaching him, there are some people that are very receptive to him and they're like yeah, I feel you. But then and I noticed maybe it was some racial stuff. He went to a couple white dudes or Spanish dudes, and they were receptive. But then when the cameras were on them, they was like, "Man, who the fuck does this guy think he is, man? Like, I don't want to beat his ass or argue with him, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who is he to tell me what to do?" So like, already people are resistant. Well, and then there was another low white guy that was resistant, right? Well, this guy, he ended up talking to one of the younger guys to talk to this younger white prisoner. And then basically the guy that he talked to talk to the guy, it was a young brother, he had him beat up the white boy. And so and then he was just on some shit like, yeah, like karma, what goes around comes around. And like it's crazy because he presented himself as like doing this right thing and trying to be a leader and whatever, but like low key he just became the pod boss. And he basically set out a hit on one of his fellow prisoners just so they could get down and get down and lay down, so to speak. You know what I mean? They can get down with the cause and lay down and not retaliate. And it was just interesting to see like this dynamic just off of one day, right? And I guess the idea is that like it's to change how they conduct their prison, how they conduct their prisons, because um the reason why these prisons are and jails are 23 and 1 is because they're severely understaffed. And so like yeah, you can't put your guards in harm's way when I mean it might be two or three guards trying to stop 300 men. Like they might have to police 300 men, so to speak. So it's an interesting. I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna tune in. I might give y'all some updates along the way. Probably at the end, I'll probably give you like a full synopsis. But that was something dope that I've been checking out. And then there's another dope thing that I want to check out, which I gotta figure out what my access to Disney Plus is. But that X-Men 97. So what they did was so the best X-Men iteration and what I know about X-Men is the full series that used to come on Fox, right? Like it used to be and so Disney finally, they got the rights to it. I'm assuming, right? So you can watch X-Men. So that is like the cartoon animated series X-Men, not like no next generation stuff from like the 90s. That was one like I watched that as an adult and like that series, and I learned so much about like X-Men, and that's why X-Men is my favorite of the Marvel like universe or whatever, Marvel comics. X-Men prevails, right? And the story is so deep, man, and all the backstories and things like that. And that was actually it's a good show. It's a good show. Well, they took that like animation style and kind of like the storylines And basically, but it's like it's more modern. Like, well, not the storylines, but like that backdrop, and they kind of modernized it a tad bit, right? Kind of the same animation style, and but they're talking about like more contemporary issues, and it's supposed to be like present day. So like Professor X is not there with them no more. Like I guess did Professor X die? I don't know. Like I think that's the premise of that. But like I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. I've been hearing that it's heavy. Like the show is heavy, the conflict, the drama is heavy, and that's something I want to check out pretty soon. But other than that, man, I'm waiting for this. I asked for that's one thing I'm grateful for J. Cole and just even just Kendrick Lamar, Future. I've been asking for music. I've been asking for something to listen to, something that once that makes me want to listen to music, get back into music again. And we got it. Even though this J. Cole stuff is weird with him backing out, we got the music, right? We got the music that we've been wanting. And I think I really do think it bodes well for the rest of 2024. And again, this could be a good year. This could be the year. Um, One thing with just one last point about the Kendrick Lamar stuff is that I and the Drake and Cole stuff. I actually want the reason why I'm so mad is because so upset with J. Cole is because I thought skill wise, I thought he would be the only one to really that skill wise just be able to take Kendrick out. Now I think Drake can take Kendrick out if we're going off of like a hit type of sound, like if we're going for who has the bigger hit, then yeah, we could talk about Drake, and Drake could probably like kind of silence this guy with his hits. But if we're talking about like ability and skill, I think it's J. Cole. J. Cole is I enjoy his rapping more than Kendrick. I don't know. Kendrick is very a technically gifted rapper. And I've been wanting somebody to kind of because Kendrick, it don't matter. Like it is when they say fuck the big three, it is big me. Like when it comes to like whether I listen to his music or not, he is that guy, man. Like he's up there. Like he is the guy. Fuck the big three, it's just big me. And I've been wanting somebody to knock him down ever since the whole Big Sean stuff, man. Like, cause Big Sean let him off the hook, man. Big Sean should have responded back in 2013 when, you know what I mean, or he should have rapped a little harder on his own song, right? So the control verse, right? So and then Big Sean does no more interviews in like 2014, 2015, and basically just kind of takes the high road and it's like I'm not really rapping about that. And then all he did was open up a chasm, right, between him and Kendrick Lamar, and then Kendrick Lamar just embarrassed him. And basically in 2020, yeah, Damn comes out in 2017. I think Damn came out in 2017. So that's, you know, Big Sean drops I Decided in 2017, and like Kendrick steps on his release. You know what I mean, because it seemed like Big Sean was about to have a great year. Stepped on his release, and then like embarrassed him and like made a whole hit record, like basically dissing Big Sean, and like Big Sean never came back after that. And from that point on, I've been like, damn, like, and Kendrick is just after that Damn album and all that, he just was soaring. He went to another stratosphere. Did the Black Panther soundtrack, like went to another stratosphere. And then and I feel like we let that happen. Like Big Sean let that happen. So like J. Cole, I feel like was the hope. But now the hope is on Drake. Can Drake take him out? We'll see, man. We'll see. But if you're still watching the show, man, I need you to show me some love, man. Please show me some love, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Share the content. Leave a comment, man. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think of the show. And yeah, man, this is episode 144 of the 280 Plus podcast, y'all. And I'm out. Peace.